going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here for AEW Dynamite on Off the Script. It is January 1st, 2020. I was going to say 2019. It's 2020. This is the first podcast right here in the new year for All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. They made their homecoming tonight in Jacksonville, Florida at the Daily Center, and they needed to have a good show tonight. And they very much needed a good show, and they did put on a good show tonight. They got things right back on track, right where AEW needs Dynamite to be. We got a lot of good stuff on the show tonight. We got some good wrestling. We got some great promos, as always, and we got that build, that oh-so-important build for AEW Revolution at the end of February. They went mainly unopposed tonight, did AEW. Now, NXT did have a show, but it wasn't a show that was going to further any storylines at all on their weekly TV. They had a highlight show, best of 2019 show. I did not tune in to see what they had going on, but I can assume they were showing highlights of all their best NXT matches throughout 2019. So we might have seen War Games. We might have seen the trilogy between Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole and a bunch of other shit that I'm sure NXT is very proud of in 2019. They went mainly unopposed. And I know there are people out there that don't watch AEW on a weekly basis. I know there are people out there that watch NXT first, and then you go and watch AEW second on DVR whenever you guys have the opportunity to. You might not watch AEW at all. If you're one of those people that always skips out on AEW, and you are one of those people that don't like AEW for whatever reason, if you knew NXT wasn't giving you a real full-fledged show that built to any storylines right now, and you switched over to TNT to watch what AEW was doing tonight because you wanted your fix of pro wrestling, I honestly do think at the end of the night, you said to yourself, this was pretty damn good. I'm going to give these guys another shot, another go next week. And I think if you watch tonight, you are more likely to tune in to see what they got going on next week on Dynamite. That's the show tonight. That was the situation tonight. They did a very good job at getting people excited. They needed to come out and really just put all of that negativity that happened on the December 18th show behind them, and they did. Again, the show is still not perfect. There are things that I notice just because I'm a nitpicker, just because I'm a perfectionist, just because it's my job to analyze. There are things that AEW is still not doing. For example, the main events don't feel like main events. They're rushed. They still have poor time management. Certain decisions on match length are very questionable, which was the case on this show tonight. Still, some production issues, like Justin Roberts being too low and then being too loud. Backstage promos. I'm trying to listen to Riho at one point tonight, if you even want to call it a promo. Cut a promo, and Britt Baker interrupts Riho tonight. They still had the AEW Dynamite theme playing in the background. I couldn't hear anything that was going on in that promo. Shit like that. That's shit that I analyze, and that's shit that I pick up on. It's still not a perfect show, but the meat and potatoes of the entire show, they needed to come out and really just have that sense of urgency, and that's exactly what they did tonight for Dynamite. And we're going to go over the entire show from the Daily's Center right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much for joining me, as always, on the podcast. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you missed any of my previous uploads this week, make sure you guys check the description. Everything you need will be right there in the description. Monday Night Raw, we uploaded Off the Script Elite, which is my #1 podcast for everything you guys need. AEW news, rumors, previews of Dynamite, predictions, etc., etc. So make sure you guys go and check that out. That was uploaded on Tuesday. If it didn't hit your sub boxes, I won't be surprised. If you guys were out partying early and you wanted to get the new year started off right and said, I will wait to watch Off the Script Elite. It's there for you. Make sure you guys go and check all of that out. You guys can support the podcast via Patreon as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Shout out to all my patrons. You guys will be shouted out in the comment section below. And I'm going to pin that motherfucker right at the very top. So make sure you guys check that out and see if your name is listed there as one of my newest patrons. And the podcast tonight is brought to you by my good friends over at Audible. We are in with another year of Audible. Audibletrial.com/offthescript. You guys can sign up using our unique link, and you're going to get 30 days free of their service, and that includes one free audio book of your choice. You guys have over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. We ended the year strong. I want to start the new year on the right track. I've been pushing the Mayor Kane book, My Life in Wrestling and Politics. It's on Audible right now for sale, $29.99. 8 hours of an autobiography that is narrated by Glenn Jacobs, Kane himself. You guys can get that for free by using our unique link, audibletrial.com/offthescript. I want to thank you guys for supporting them, and I want to thank Audible for once again having Off the Script as a sponsor for 2020. That is audibletrial.com/offthescript. Dynamite opened tonight with a video package documenting the Elite. Now, we all know what happened on December 18th. Everybody just came out of their caves. They came out on social media. These keyboard warriors came out on social media. And by the way, I have to say this because it's bothering the shit out of me. I know it's too dark. The camera looks a little darker than it usually does. I legitimately walked into my office and I flipped the light on. And I don't have any of these big production lights that all these other YouTubers probably have, these streamers, these big strobe lights that gives off a beautiful look in the camera. I got to get myself one. I'm in the process of just changing everything around for this year, so patience is a virtue. But I turned my light on, and one of my ceiling lights went out just tonight. And I got to go and get that replaced because it's not giving off enough light. And I'm looking in my camera right now. I see that it's too dark. So if you guys are wondering why is JD sitting in the dark here or it looks darker than usual, that's why. Dynamite opened up with a video package of the Elites, and it was pretty much the Elite. Are they losing their mojo? Are they losing their edge? Is this too much to handle? And after all of these keyboard warriors came out and blasted AEW after the December 18th show, you know, the show that had the Dark Order and that big botch that went viral, the Young Bucks deleted Twitter because of it. It was one of those situations where they're kind of taking all of that and they're really putting it out front. They're not really hiding from their mistakes. They're not running from their errors. They are using it in storyline. Can the Elite bounce back? Have they lost their mojo? You know, have they lost their way? And they're making this into a storyline. And you've seen it at the end of the show. When the main event ended and Kenny Omega got the one-winged angel on Rey Fenix, Cody came out. The Bucks were there celebrating with Kenny. Adam Hangman Page was on commentary. He was drinking some Jack Daniels on commentary, which should be a necessity for all commentators. A cold beverage? I am down with that, man. But Page was on stage. They invited him into the ring. He didn't come, obviously, because that's going to play into the storyline that they're building going into AEW Revolution. But they're trying to get their mojo back. And the negativity that is surrounding them right now, you know, have they lost it, is being turned into a storyline. So I like that. And that video package really highlighted everything that a lot of people on social media are saying about AEW and the Elite. So that was pretty cool to see. We went into Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin to open Dynamite tonight. The Daily Center looked fantastic. I love the look. It's so different than what we traditionally see with AEW, going into a random city, going into a random venue. The Daily Center, the way it's set up, is very nicely done. Just gives off this big feel, gives off that important feel, and I hope that they make this a regular thing. I hope that they make the Daily Center a part of their yearly visit to Jacksonville, because that's going to be, it should be, one of their home destinations. I think it looked great tonight. The lighting looked great. It just gave off that big show feel for AEW tonight, and that fit perfectly into what they were trying to portray with the show tonight. Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. This match came about because Cody was feuding with the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. They were hired guns by MJF. MJF went on to say that Cody had no friends. And Darby Allin came out of nowhere and pretty much offered his services to Cody, but for a price. I will help you get by the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. And when we win, I want my rematch with you. And that's pretty much how we got to this. These two fought once before. It was at Fyter Fest when it went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Darby Allin is incredibly over Cody. Everything Cody has done up until this point has been picture perfect. The storytelling has been on point. It's been absolutely beautiful. This match was awesome. I thought this was great. Great way to open the show. And I was very much looking forward to what these two guys could do in a rematch from Fyter Fest. So we opened with Cody going for his signature drop-down punch. Darby Allin blocked it. That led to both men trading a very nice series of back-and-forth pinfall attempts with each other. Back and forth, again, very evenly matched in the beginning stages of this match. Cody got frustrated. He then threw Darby Allin through the ropes in the corner. Darby Allin hit the steel post as he flew through the ring ropes, and he landed on the outside. Very nasty. Cody followed. Darby Allin was back up. And when Cody went to the apron to go and follow, we had Darby Allin sweeping Cody's leg out from underneath him, and he hit the ring apron shoulder first on the way down. And that was the story for Darby Allin in this match. He was trying to target the shoulder of Cody Rhodes. So we had the story of the match right there within the first 5 minutes of these two in the ring. Back in the ring, he went for a springboard coffin drop. I don't know what he was looking for. It looked like he was doing the coffin drop off of a springboard off the middle rope. But Cody rolled to the outside, and absolutely crazy is Darby Allin. A devastating suicide dive by Allin on Cody takes him out and himself on the outside. Cody's back in. He caught Darby with a huge just jump up kick. I don't know if it was a super kick. It looked like a disaster kick. And he got him with that as he tried to enter the ring. Darby went right after the arm, immediately after that spot. And that was the apron spot, which was the target of Darby Allin early on. Cody fights back some more, applies a figure four on Darby Allin, middle of the ring. Darby reversed. He reversed the figure four. Cody reversed his reversal. Then Darby eventually made it to the bottom rope. Darby Allin back up. Shotgun dropkick by Allin. And he leveled Cody so hard that Cody went flying into the turnbuckle, shoulder first. Darby Allin then showing you that he is more versatile than you think. Ground-based submissions, Fujiwara armbar to Cody to further sell the injury. He then took the top turnbuckle off, or the top turnbuckle pad, and he actually was receiving a chorus of boos. One thing I got to say about this match, and I forgot to mention it in the beginning of the show, and I hope that he's a regular on the show. Tazz was on commentary. Now, I'm not sure if he is going to be a regular, and I didn't really hear if Tony Schiavone had prior engagements that he had to take care of, and he was not able to be there tonight. But if Tazz is going to be a full-fledged member of this commentary team, I think that is a tremendous move. And I mentioned this on OTS Elite on Tuesday. He was being rumored, or his name was being rumored to have this authority figure behind it. AEW might be adding an authority figure, per the reports, to AEW Dynamite, and his name was brought up. I said, that would be fine. That would be fine by me, but I think his services are best utilized in the commentary position. That's exactly what they did here tonight. Again, I don't know if Tony Schiavone was just not able to make this week's show, but being that Tazz was there, he added a level of something that was missing with AEW Dynamite's commentary team. He sounded phenomenal tonight. He didn't miss a beat. He sounded as great as he always sounded. And I love when you have somebody that is very knowledgeable like that, that's been a pro wrestler, for as long as he's been a pro wrestler, he's going to give you a sense of commentary that someone like Excalibur or anybody else in that position is just not going to be able to give you. So having him there and having his expertise there, I can't even begin to tell you how much that was an improvement over what we've heard through the first 12 weeks of this show. And I hope that he is a mainstay. I really do. He added a lot to this match, and again, he didn't miss a beat. He was prepared. He knew exactly what was going on with Darby Allin, what type of performer he was. He didn't seem lost. He obviously knows Cody. He knew everything about everyone on this show. And if they don't keep him in that role, that is a big mistake by AEW Dynamite management. I'm just throwing that out there. I thought he did a phenomenal job tonight, did Tazz. So, after the turnbuckle pad was off, Allin removed the turnbuckle pad. Cody tried to use the exposed steel against him, and Allin evaded. Darby off the top rope with a crossbody. Cody reversed through, followed with a snap power slam, which obviously is a Randy Orton trademark, so that was nice to see. Cody with the Cody cutter off the second rope, threw his weight belt into the crowd. This is a thing now. When Cody wrestles, you're wondering, I wonder where he's going to throw the weight belt. That's a great fucking souvenir, man. That really is a great souvenir. You got to be one lucky motherfucker to be sitting in an AEW crowd at an AEW show and you catch Cody's weight belt. That's awesome. So he threw his weight belt into the crowd. Cody places Darby on the top turnbuckle with a reverse suplex, a reverse superplex. Off the top, Darby Allin kicks out. Great spot. After 18 minutes of a show that went uninterrupted with not one commercial break, we get a notification of 10 minutes left in the match, and then we go to commercial. Normally, if AEW is being opposed by a full-fledged NXT TV taping, they would have not gone to commercial in the opening match. But they did here. So we go to commercial. Through the commercial break, Cody applied the figure four on Darby Allin. They slowed the match down. We didn't see any big moves during the commercial break, during the split-screen commercial break, which has been a thing that they've constantly fucked up on. I don't want to see big shit happen or big moves happen in the picture-in-picture commercial. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to hear the commentary. So I'm glad Cody slowed everything down. He was selling the arm. He was taking a very slow, methodical pace during the commercial, which is exactly what they need to do more of. Selling the arm, pacing himself. And Cody slammed Darby. The only thing that we seen during the split screen was Cody slammed Darby on the entrance ramp. So back in the ring, he went up top again. Allin fighting back. He gets a big sunset powerbomb off the top rope. We're back to live TV. They showed replays of it, which was very nice. I appreciate that. So I got to hear the live crowd reaction to that big spot. Darby with a stunner. Cody is dropped. He climbs up to the top looking for the coffin drop. Cody rolls to the apron. Darby Allin goes up top anyway, delivers the coffin drop regardless. Right down on the ring apron. It looked like Cody might have gotten his knees up. The commentary team was a little confused at this point. And Cody's knees were just there. He didn't mean to get the knees up. He was just laying there, positioned as he was. And the commentary team really didn't know if Cody was trying to get the knees up or not. Did he get the knees up or not? Doesn't really matter. You're going to be delivering a coffin drop to somebody off the top rope to the ring apron. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you got the knees up because the move itself is not only going to take out your opponent, knees or not, it's going to take out you as well. So there was banter back and forth. They didn't know what was going on. Who gives a shit? He risked his fucking life off the top rope with a insane move to take out his opponent. And Jim Ross mentioned that. So, back in the ring, Cody went for the Cody cutter. Allin blocked it. Allin went for a stunner. Cody reversed that into a crossroads. Darby Allin kicked out of that. Cody ran into the exposed turnbuckle by accident. Darby Allin was in the corner. He charged, and then he hit the exposed steel. So Darby Allin, seeing this as his opening, potentially to win the match, he goes up top, goes for the coffin drop. Arn Anderson, who came out with Cody Rhodes in the beginning of the match. Arn Anderson is Cody Rhodes' new advisor. He's at ringside. He gets up on the ring apron. He throws himself almost into the ring, but not really in the ring. He gets into the ring, peers through the ropes. He yells at Cody, get the knees up. Darby Allin comes off the top rope with the coffin drop. Cody gets the knees up, and he rolls up Allin for the win after the assist. The proper assist from Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson didn't get in the match. He didn't interfere. He didn't distract the referee like Zelina Vega would do in a match with Andrade. You know, every single time we see the same outcome with Andrade and Zelina Vega. Why? Why can't we see more of what we've seen here with Arn Anderson and Cody every other time we see a manager or a valet or an advisor in that role? That was a breath of fresh air. It's going to get Cody right back on track to do what he needs to do, and that is win. I loved that spot with Arn Anderson because you don't see it with somebody playing that role. It's always the same generic garbage. But Arn Anderson being out there, all he did was pretty much show everyone that he did his homework. He knew, being that he's Cody's advisor, he knew Darby Allin and what was coming. Told him to get the knees up, and that was it. I cannot even begin to tell you how much of just a breath of fresh air that is. I absolutely fucking love that. Because it's something that we don't usually see on weekly pro wrestling television. Cody wins, and that was awesome. Really great opening match between these two. Darby Allin, you know, everybody wants to say, oh, AEW hasn't built up any new stars. Darby Allin, out of everybody, to be quite honest with you, is the one guy that you might not have known of coming into this thing. He's the biggest new star that they have on the rise. And matches like this are going to further prove that fact. This was awesome. Backstage, Jen Decker interviewed SCU, Kaz, Scorpio Sky, Christopher Daniels. Sky said the Dark Order wants to stick their nose where it doesn't belong. Uh-oh. Could we be getting a Dark Order versus SCU feud for the tag team titles? Certainly looks like it. Sky called them spooky perverts and said they ruined their finish. Kaz talked about Santana and Ortiz, and then in walks Sammy Guevara with his camera in selfie mode. So he's filming for his YouTube channel. He congratulated them for having the tag team titles. Then he looked at Daniels and asked what he has besides wrinkles and losses on his record. Maybe you just don't got it anymore, he said to Daniels. Daniels stepped up and said that they can find out next week in a one-on-one match. He licked his thumb, rubbed it on Sammy's phone, and Sammy was grossed out and said, "This is my new Christmas gift." So he's frantically trying to wipe his phone and wanted to use Jen Decker's nice dress as a way to wipe his phone. And that was pretty much it. So looks like we're getting a potential tease here. Some small seeds being planted with Scorpio Sky having a problem with the Dark Order. We might be getting the Dark Order versus SCU being built up for AEW Revolution at the end of February. Nyla Rose, everybody's favorite, right? I know. You guys love Nyla Rose, I know. Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida, who is my favorite female in the entire division, Britt Baker, and Riho. Riho. I don't like Riho. Everybody that listens to me knows I'm not a big fan of Riho. Please, get the title off of her immediately is what I say. I know there'll be some elitists out there. Oh, JD, why are you hating on Riho? Women's Championship match. This was supposed to be Riho versus Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Now, the reason why this didn't happen is because Chris Statlander finds the AEW title, or women's title, I should say, the AEW Women's Championship to be secondary to Joey Ryan's bar wrestling. That's where she was tonight. She was wrestling for Joey Ryan's bar wrestling instead of challenging for the AEW Women's Championship. Doesn't really make AEW's Women's Championship look all that prestigious now, does it? I mentioned this on OTS Elite. You guys want my opinion on it from Tuesday's episode. Go and check that out. But I don't like what Chris Statlander did. It's very silly to just go into this thing and not really embrace getting an AEW Women's Championship. I'm not going to fault her for being loyal and keeping her word on doing an independent show. But there's no reason to believe why Bar Wrestling wouldn't understand why she couldn't make that prior engagement. That she's challenging for the AEW Women's Championship. And they look stupid, too. AEW looks stupid for not really doing their research. She's got this show booked. Maybe we shouldn't be giving her a title match on this day. But Bar Wrestling looks stupid, too. Because if they told her, go do the AEW thing, go win the championship, how much do you think Bar Wrestling would look that much better if she shows up not only as just Chris Statlander, but she shows up as AEW Women's Champion Chris Statlander? I don't understand it. And Tony Khan is being a very nice individual about this when he realistically doesn't have to be. AEW should be her top priority. And she wants to go wrestle for Bar Wrestling. Tony Khan could be a dick. He could give her the title match like he is next week, and he could have Riho go over. He doesn't have to give Chris Statlander the title. If she doesn't find that to be the number one priority in her professional career right now, then she is pretty much telling you without saying she doesn't deserve the championship. He could be a dick. So we'll see what happens. This was good, but the AEW Women's Division is still clearly a huge issue. And we need to get some importance back in the women's division. I don't think there was any importance to begin with, but they need a complete overhaul of this entire division. And please, less of Britt Baker. She is not doing anybody any favors whatsoever. Now, she didn't look too bad in this Fatal 4-Way match, but she is still not where she needs to be. And I'll say that every single time. I know she's got her number one priority being a dentist, but if you're not really giving this any more than you are, you know, maybe she shouldn't be on TV as much as she is. I don't like what Britt Baker is. She's not there. She's not entertaining. She's not good. I just want to see her come along. The potential is there. I just can't stand seeing her as sloppy as she is, as uncoordinated as she is, and please, with the super kicks. I know your boyfriend does the super kicks, but if you cannot do a proper super kick, maybe you should stop doing them. They're not impactful. They are not crisp. They're not clean. It just looks like she's trying to emulate Adam Cole, and she's doing a poor job at it. Hikaru Shida was the one woman that I think in this entire match deserved. Even over Chris Statlander, deserved the Women's Championship. So I knew she wasn't going to win because it makes no sense to give her the championship only to have Statlander challenge and more than likely win the title next week because that's what they've been building towards. Nyla Rose, she has potential, but nobody likes her for obvious reasons. And then Riho, 91 days as AEW Women's Champion. What has she done? Nothing. She can barely cut a promo. She barely speaks the English language. Get the title off of her. We need somebody that has a powerful presence as the women's champion. Riho is not it. She's not it at all. So Nyla, coming back from a suspension after power bombs to both referee Rick Knox and Shauna, who we haven't seen in many weeks and is one of the better females there. Nyla attacked Riho before the bell, took the AEW Women's Championship off of Riho and smashed it over Britt Baker's back. Shida then took her kendo stick and started blasting Nyla over the head with it. That was pretty cool. Back and forth between the other three ladies. Baker sent into the corner. Riho takes arm drag to Shida. Rose drags Shida out to the floor, brings a table out from underneath the ring and sets it up on the floor. Nyla Rose is Miss Table. She loves those tables. She loves wood. There you go. Rose takes control of the match, goes after Shida, who ends up giving Rose a back body drop. Shida looks for a suplex on Rose. Obviously, that was not going to happen. Shida gets lifted and dropped over the top rope. Rose then heads to the top, drops the knee over Shida's back. I like that spot by Nyla Rose, where she hangs her opponent off the middle rope. She jumps off the top rope and delivers that big knee off the top rope. That's a nice-looking spot. And Nyla Rose, again, she has the potential to be more. And I like the physicality that she has. She's just got to get a little bit more crisp with the offense that she's trying to deliver. So Rose then puts Sheeta on the table. Rose then leaps off the ring apron and delivers a senton to Sheeta through the table. That took Sheeta out of the match for the duration. Rose crawls to the apron. Rio with a double stomp on Rose's back, so we get these two going back and forth. Britt Baker's in there. She plants Rose, goes for a cover. She goes for the lockjaw. Rose fights out of it. She tried to get the lockjaw on Nyla Rose. That wasn't happening. Baker with a triangle submission. Rose fights out with a powerbomb, lifts her up, powerbomb, goes for a cover. Rio breaks that up. Rio flips under Rose, double stomp to the stomach. Rio to the top rope, double stomp to the stomach again, goes for a cover, and Baker with a super kick to Rio's face. Swinging neck breaker, goes for a cover there. Does Britt Baker. Sheeta back in the match after the table spot from Nyla Rose. Deadlift suplex on Britt Baker. Sheeta avoided Rose as she crashed into the corner. Suplex to Rio, into Rose. Sheeta with a spinning backbreaker to Britt Baker. Rose just lifts and suplexes Sheeta. Rio got dropped by Rose. Rose goes to the top, looking for a big senton on both women down below. They both move out of the way. That was a nasty fall there by Nyla Rose off the top rope. Sheeta with a knee to Rio. Double knees to Rose. Cover. Sheeta breaks it up. Sheeta lifts and plants Rose. Cover. Close 3 on that one. There was a couple of close near falls in this thing from Sheeta and Britt Baker. 2 by Baker and 1 by Sheeta. I honestly thought Britt Baker, with the amount of near falls that we've seen from her and how close that they were, I thought she was going to win the Women's Championship. I really did. And she came pretty damn fucking close to doing that. So, Baker with a super kick on Sheeta, which looked awful. Absolutely awful. Side Russian leg sweep. Lockjaw. Mandible claw attempt. That's counted into a 2 count. Rio then immediately flips in with a jackknife pin on Baker for the out-of-nowhere victory, and she retains the Women's Championship. Post-match, Nyla Rose being the beast, the native beast, Nyla Rose, and obviously her infatuation with fucking wood nowadays, hits a big clothesline on Rio, took Rio out. She brings the table into the ring, sets it up, puts Rio on the table, and then a diving big splash off the second turnbuckle through the table and through Rio. So, from what I see, they're building towards this match with Kris Statlander next week. This attack will obviously have lasting effects on poor little Rio going into next week, which should give Kris Statlander the obvious predictable victory and the Women's Championship next week. Good. I'm not for what Kris Statlander did. I can absolutely admire her loyalty, because you don't really see that all that often. Tony Khan doesn't have to give her the Women's Championship, but it certainly looks like that Kris Statlander is going to be the AEW Women's Champion. Anyone but Rio. Anybody but Rio. So I'm glad. So we'll see what happens next week. It looks like Kris Statlander is going to win the Women's Championship in the one-on-one match on Dynamite next week. Backstage, Joey Janela is asked by Alex Marvez what he's looking forward to in 2020. Janela goes to speak, and then all of a sudden gets low-blowed by somebody, and the camera pans over, and we see Penelope Ford grabbing a handful of Joey Janela's nuts. So we get that, and in rolls Kip Sabian, super bad Kip Sabian, to see what she did. The two laugh, and they walk off. This was a feud that was supposedly dropped by AEW management for whatever reason. I know Joey Janela has been feuding with Shawn Spears, but I'd much rather see this because there's a history there between Penelope Ford and Joey Janela that could really be portrayed on television, and you throw a dose of reality into it, it could be a really fun storyline to see develop on weekly AEW television. So we'll see what happens. Joey Janela, I know, is not the most interesting wrestler on this roster, neither is Kip Sabian, but if they're going to take a dose of real life, which Penelope Ford was once with Joey Janela, now she's with Kip Sabian, like I said, it could be a fun little storyline to see develop on weekly AEW television. Evil Uno cuts a promo backstage, or wherever he was. It looked like he was sitting in an office somewhere. You know, joindarkorder.com is a real thing, by the way. I checked it out. It really is a website, and you can enter your information and join the Dark Order if you want. You fucking geeks out there with no fucking direction in life, go ahead. Give yourself the Evil Uno. talking about how the Elite are done, which we know is not true. We see footage from the December 18th AEW Dynamite show where the Dark Order took out the group at the end of the show, which I did not really enjoy. I think the Young Bucks should have won the tag team championships. Uno says, we will see how far the Dark Order's reach truly is. Don't know what that means, but they're playing up the fact that the Dark Order are going to be a group that is going to be taken very seriously in AEW. Jon Moxley versus Trent. Trent, no longer Barreta. I don't know why they got rid of his last name. I just think it's funny. Maybe it's because Barreta, guns, they wanted to eliminate that aspect from his name and just simply call him Trent. Or maybe Vince McMahon is secretly running this show. I don't know. Because you know how he loves to fucking cut names. But we got Jon Moxley and Trent. This match went way too long. Absolutely way too long. This match should have been 5 minutes or less. Now, Trent is too good to be in this situation, and I really don't want to see Trent in these matches and being used as an enhancement talent. He's much better than that. He really is. And I thought that they were building up the best friends, to be quite honest with you. If the storyline here was not Trent, nothing to do with Trent whatsoever, and it was all Moxley and Jericho and what Moxley's going to say in regards to joining the Inner Circle, why did we get such a long-winded match between Trent Barreta and Jon Moxley? On one hand, you could look at it. Trent looked great. He looked great in this match. He lost, but nobody's going to go back and think, oh man, Trent Barreta gave us a great match with Jon Moxley on the January 1st episode of Dynamite. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? This plays into AEW's poor time management. The story here is Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho with the Inner Circle. Moxley, we all know, is getting a big win over whoever he's in the ring with. Or an easy win, I should say. Every win's big because it keeps him undefeated. But we don't need him struggling against someone like Trent Barreta. It doesn't really do anything for Moxley if he can't put away Trent Barreta. Or it takes him 15 minutes to do so. Now, when he's got a championship match looming with Chris Jericho, this match should have been less than 5 minutes. And that story should have immediately shifted right to his Inner Circle dilemma. That's what should have happened. This was a good match for what it was. It was just too long. There was a spot in this match where Moxley got a pile driver delivered to him. Now, we don't normally see pile drivers on weekly pro wrestling television. Most companies have outlawed them due to the high risk of concussions and head injuries. But my God. And that wasn't the only spot in the night. Wait till I get to the Dustin Rhodes Sammy Guevara match and what he did on the ring apron. But at the end of this match, we got Moxley with a big lariat. Trent came back with one of his own. And Trent went into the corner. He knocked Moxley down. Cassidy makes his way into the ring. He just gets into the ring. And he puts his hands in the air and he puts his hands in his pockets. And he's taunting Jon Moxley. Moxley then does the same. He mouths off to him, which was a nice spot. Everybody was going crazy. So Moxley did the same thing. And Trent Barreta, who was in the corner, Moxley turned around and eats a kick by Trent. Then Trent delivers a pile driver, which looked absolutely fucking brutal on Moxley. Landed him right on his head. What a high-risk, dumb move in this match. It looked like, I'm glad Moxley walked away, but the way it looked like, the way he landed on the pile driver, you don't want to really scare anybody like that. He landed right on his head. And that could issue neck issues later on. That could turn into something bad later on down the line. And you don't really want to do that when Moxley is your major fucking guy right now. Going to be their major player in 2020. What a devastating, dumb move that was. Pile driver, obviously, he kicks out. Moxley makes his way to the ramp. Trent leaps off the top rope, gets caught, eats a paradigm shift on the ramp by Moxley. Moxley gets Trent back in the ring, another paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3, and he wins the match. Pretty much it. Went too long, and it should have been less than 5 minutes. Or if you wanted this to be just another real showcase win for Jon Moxley, you know, I don't really see, like I said, Trent in that spot. He's too good to be in that spot. Anybody but that type of guy. Should have been about him getting a quick win, still asserting his dominance, and then go right into the Chris Jericho situation. Post-match, Sammy Guevara comes out with a microphone. He tells Moxley he understands now why he comes through the crowd. This is awesome. You got people trying to snap selfies with Sammy Guevara as he's walking through the crowd. He takes somebody's popcorn and starts eating popcorn on the way down to the ring. And he throws the popcorn away. I would have been pissed. Paying, what, $13 for a fucking popcorn, and Sammy Guevara takes my popcorn, starts eating it, and then throws half the fucking bag away. Bro, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. He sees why Moxley does this. Guevara says it's 2020, and the Inner Circle is a big surprise for Big Jon Moxley. So we see a video package, or via a video on the screen. We see Chris Jericho, and the title looked so great in this camera shot. Jericho looked fucking fantastic. The title glistening in the Jacksonville night. So Jericho is standing there, and he said Moxley looked great in the ring and is the premier wrestler in the business right now. Jericho says he wants Moxley in the Inner Circle and wants Moxley to lead the Inner Circle with Chris Jericho. I'm offering you 49% of the Inner Circle. I'm offering you 49% of Inner Circle LLC. There you go. It's a pretty tempting offer. It's a very tempting offer by Chris Jericho. Now, Jericho's standing in front of a beautiful car. It was a Ford GT. And he said he bought this Ford GT. All the members of the Inner Circle pitched in to purchase this car for Jon Moxley. And this Ford GT could be Moxley's. It's got a license plate that says Mox, registered to the state of Florida. All Moxley has to do is say yes. Jericho wants Moxley to team up with the group so they can take out everyone and own AEW. Think about it, Mox. The world can be yours. All you have to do is say yes. Jericho drives off in the car. It looked like he was having a very difficult time getting in the car, but he eventually got in the car, started it up, and drove away. Now, that's a very tempting offer, man. If Jericho is offering me 49% of Inner Circle LLC and a brand new Ford GT, I don't know, man. Fuck the title match. I'm joining the Inner Circle. That's just me. Or we could drink a little bit of the bubbly together. Moxley gets a microphone, says he's always considered Jericho a friend and a mentor. Moxley then says, next week, I will give Chris Jericho my answer in person on Dynamite. And he walks away. And he walks away. Now, I understand them dragging this out to next week. I do. It's typical pro wrestling 101. You want to build intrigue. You want to build hype about a big segment for next week's show. Can't really see the big deal or the big hype or the big reveal being all that exciting when we all kind of know what the answer is. Now, they could swerve us, and Moxley can join the Inner Circle and then eventually say, fuck this shit, and just kind of destroy the Inner Circle from within. Those types of deals. They could do that. But I don't really think it plays up to Moxley's character as being a badass rebel if, A, he joins the Inner Circle, and it doesn't really play up to Moxley's character now the way we see it if he's prolonging this for so long. Does it really... My question was when I watched this, is it kind of taking away from the Moxley character a little bit by prolonging this question and prolonging this answer, which we all know is going to be no? Is it harming Moxley's character just a little bit, taking away from that rebel-like attitude that he has by contemplating the offer from the Inner Circle? Wouldn't it really play up to Moxley's character to give him a defined no? Now, I know it's all for the sake of pro wrestling and building up a storyline and taking your time with it and telling the story that you want for the match that's happening in February, but there are some negatives to this in my eyes. It's not big. It's not really a big deal. I know Moxley's going to probably give a resounding fucking no and give paradigm shifts to everybody, so it won't probably be that big of a deal. But the way I see it now, it's like he's contemplating the idea. Like, he's entertaining the thought about giving Jericho what he wants. And to me, it kind of takes away from that badass rebel fucking, I don't give a fuck about anybody or anything type attitude that Moxley has. He's kind of toned it down. Now, maybe, again, for the sake of the storyline, maybe he's just playing coy with Jericho, and it's all a big ruse. And it's going to get a big pop next week when he just beats the shit out of everybody and gives that resounding no. But we'll see what happens. But it did come off as, the rebel-like attitude is kind of, taking a little bit of a hit with him just walking away. I enjoy Chris Jericho. Him and I have been good friends in the past, he says, and a mentor. Kind of takes away from what they've been doing with Jon Moxley over the last couple of weeks. So after that segment, we go to a split-screen commercial break, and we see Sammy Guevara holding up cue cards in front of the camera. And I don't know what he was doing or why he was doing this, but apparently he wanted to get a message across to not only Dustin Rhodes, but apparently he wanted to get a message across to Victoria Justice's sister to hit him up on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, he was talking about Dustin Rhodes via these signs that he was holding up in front of the camera. He was like, what's going to happen to Dustin Rhodes? He suffered a broken arm, right? What's next? A broken foot. So they kind of teased and poked fun at Dustin Rhodes that they're going to take care of business and they're going to end him tonight. And it was all done via cue cards by Sammy Guevara. That was a very entertaining use of them going to the split-screen commercial. So I really enjoyed that. So we got Dustin Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. This one went 10 minutes. This one was all about Dustin Rhodes getting revenge on him going to the hospital with his broken hand. So Dustin comes from behind. His theme music went off. Sammy Guevara was waiting in the ring looking at the entrance ramp. Dustin came from behind. He leapt off the ring apron a minute into the match, flipped onto Sammy Guevara. So it's nice to see Dustin Rhodes still doing that intense, high-risk offense, even at his age. It's really nice to see. So after a distraction by Jake Hager, Sammy nailed him with a wrecking ball kick. They went right to commercial break again. They fought back and forth. Dustin eventually set up to do the kick to the nuts spot. The ref stepped in the way and stopped Dustin from doing it. This gave Jake Hager the opportunity to enter the ring and give Dustin a low blow of his own. And Guevara scored the pin after the low blow by Jake Hager. That was pretty much it. So it looks like we're getting more seeds planted for a possible pay-per-view match with Jake Hager and Dustin Rhodes, which would be Jake Hager's first match in AEW. It should be a big deal. I mean, the outcome is pretty predictable there. There's no reason why Jake Hager should lose his first match in AEW. Looks like Dustin Rhodes is going to be waiting on that revenge aspect just a little bit longer. He loses to Sammy here in 10 minutes. Decent for what it was. Backstage, Jen Decker interviewed Private Party at a bar. Hangman Page poured a shot. He just walks into the frame, goes behind their bar, invited himself to their party, opened up a bottle of Jack Daniels, poured himself a glass, and Isaiah Cassidy was like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Private Party said they're worried about Adam Hangman Page. Told them they should be worried because he could whoop both of their asses at the same time. So, Happy New Year, guys. Grabbed his Jack Daniels and left. So now we got Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega next week, teaming up again, which is not by accident. And they're teaming up and going 2-on-2 against Private Party next week on Dynamite, which should be awesome. MJF is in the ring. MJF is in the ring, and this was easily the best part of the entire show. I loved everything about this MJF promo. MJF comes out with Wardlow, and he's out there, obviously, to address Cody Rhodes and everything that's going on with Cody Rhodes. Wardlow looking like a fucking beast, as always. MJF is in the ring, and while we go to commercial break, we see the split screen. MJF is walking around the ringside area. First of all, there was a sign in the crowd that said, MJF tips only 5%, which I laughed at. I love whoever made that sign, thumbs up to you. And he's walking around the ringside area. He has these I wouldn't even call them attractive, these beasts, these women in the crowd, right? You know, women in the crowd. And he had one lady kiss him on the lips. I don't know if she was with anybody, but she willingly kissed him on the lips. He allowed it. It's MJF. He could do whatever the fuck he wants. He's going around the ringside area, just poking fun at all the fucking geeks sitting around. Takes some people's signs and rips them up. He's yelling at some guy in the front row, daring him to punch him. Yeah, I know. You ain't gonna do shit exactly. You're there and I'm over here. So we got him going around the ringside area, and he has one other geek kiss his diamond ring. We got another woman. He wants this woman to kiss him on the lips. She doesn't want to do it because she's there with her husband. So he's like, all right, kiss me on the cheek. She kissed him on the cheek. Watching MJF walk around ringside, not hearing anything that's going on, just poking fun at all these geeks. I'd rather watch that for 3 hours than watch 3 full hours of Monday Night Raw. That was entertaining as fuck, man. This was awesome. So MJF and Wardlow are in the ring. MJF will announce his stipulations to wrestle Cody. That's the whole deal about this promo. So MJF lists off his stipulations to face Cody. It has to be at AEW Revolution. So he will give Cody his match at Revolution, but Cody cannot lay one finger on MJF between now and Revolution. Otherwise, there'll be no match. There'll be no match at Revolution. There'll be no match ever. So those are his stipulations. Cody even touches him. No match ever for Cody. MJF says the second stipulation is Cody has to face an opponent of his choosing, which would be Wardlow. Now he pretends to talk to Wardlow. Wardlow standing there with the same grimace on his face as he always does. MJF tried to discuss this stipulation with Wardlow. Our conversations are always great, he says, and Wardlow didn't say one fucking word, which was awesome. Cody has to face Wardlow and beat him in a steel cage. Now, the third stipulation is he wants Cody to get down on all fours, and MJF is going to whip him with his belt 10 times. And those are the 3 stipulations laid out by MJF for Cody Rhodes. This was awesome. The reason why this was awesome, folks, and MJF is the best promo in the business right now. We all know that. But the one thing that I loved about this promo, outside of just MJF's obviously great delivery and the fact that he shits on the fans and how entertaining he is, the one thing that I loved about this entire promo is the fact that he looked directly into the camera during the entire promo. The entire duration of this promo, he didn't cut a promo in front of the fans. The fans were just there. According to MJF, just based on his character, the fans are lucky to even be in his presence. He didn't make the fans an issue or a priority at all. They were just there. They were background noise to him. Obviously, he took time to fucking address the fans because they were booing him. You want to boo me? Calling Jacksonville a bunch of fucking dummies. Telling Jacksonville and the fans in Jacksonville that they can't count. I know this might be difficult for you to comprehend, shit like that, which is great. That's the shit a heel should do. Typical heel behavior. But him looking directly in front of the camera, into the camera, and everything he mentioned about laying out the stipulation, the steel cage, not putting a hand on him, otherwise the match is not happening. The fact that he's going to whip Cody 10 times. He wants Cody to get down on all fours like the dog that he is. He didn't say anything to the fans. He looked directly into the camera and addressed one person and one person only, and that is Cody Rhodes. I can't even begin to tell you how refreshing that is, because you watch Monday Night Raw and you watch SmackDown Live, and you get a random fucking guy, no matter who it is, cutting a promo, building a storyline, and it's so impersonal. Like, who are you directing? You could take Roman Reigns, for example. I don't know why I'm taking Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, because let alone, talking about it, we don't want to see anything of these guys on television. But if Baron Corbin's in the ring cutting a promo on Roman Reigns, and the way that he does it, he doesn't look into the camera. He just speaks into the microphone, and it's not personal at all. MJF made this personal by directing everything he said into the camera because he knows Cody is watching in the back. That's the way it should be done. Not only because of this situation, it should be done everywhere when someone cuts a promo, especially when you're directing your words to a specific someone. I thought that was fucking fantastic. You don't see that often. And I love that aspect of it. And it's another thing why, added on top of everything else that they do as far as promo work, another reason why AEW cuts the best promos in the business. And this was no different. This was awesome. A tipsy Adam Page joined commentary for the main event. So he was drinking, and he brought his beverage with him to sit down to Tazz, Jim Ross, and Excalibur. Jen Decker was talking with Jungle Boy about being able to last 10 minutes with Chris Jericho. Jungle Boy says he did what he set out to do, and in 2020, he's looking for a big win. And obviously, they made the reference of the records are reset. He's looking for a fresh start, etc., etc. He says it will be a big year for the Jurassic Express. I hope so. They got tag team champions written all over them. Built up the right way. Give them an opportunity to do that. Crowd will be over for them big time. And I want them to get back to that because I feel like they're losing some steam. So we'll see what happens with them in 2020. I expect big things from both him and the big man, Luchasaurus. Backstage, Rio is asked about next week's match against Chris Statlander. A complete waste of time. She said nothing. She just stood there, smiling or fucking looking concerned. I could not give a single shit about Rio. Really. Take the title off of her. Take it off of her. They couldn't do it fast enough. Britt Baker walks in, interrupts and says she isn't happy that she has to be here every single week, and she is here every single week, even though she makes her dentistry her number one priority. She's still here every single week. Yeah, Rio just rolls on in when she wants, steals a win, and heads off. Baker says Rio doesn't deserve to hold the title, and Rio looks sad. As she has Michael Nakazawa translating what she's trying to say. She said something, and I couldn't hear what they were trying to say to anybody. This segment was a complete waste of time, and this is one of those things that have production issues written all over them. They were going over what was happening next week with the anniversary show and the fact that they're going to be tributing Memphis Legends next week. They had the AEW Dynamite theme playing underneath this promo with Riho, Nakazawa, and Britt Baker. I couldn't hear a fucking thing anybody was trying to say. Shit like that. Production issues like that. You got a promo in the back? Cut the fucking music off. Because I want to hear what these women have to say. So that was a complete waste of time by Riho and Britt Baker. Cody and Dustin Rhodes versus the Lucha Brothers were announced next week. Also, Private Party versus Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, which is going to play up into what I think will be a match at Revolution between Page and Kenny Omega. So we'll see what happens with that. Main event, rushed as always. They were strapped for time, but they got every little bit of what they had out of this show into this match. It ended up being really fucking fun, but I'm telling you, man, AEW has to get their time management down right. They got to do a better job. The main events on these shows do not feel like main events. I don't want to have to look at my fucking watch or my clock. Wow, who the fuck wears a watch in 2020? But I don't want to have to look at my phone to see how much more time they have left in the show. I'm more concerned about them having shitty time management than I am watching the fucking main event. I don't want to feel that way anymore. These main events need to feel like a bigger deal on this show, and they don't. And they don't. And they don't because they're always strapped for time. Everything always feels rushed on this show when it comes to the final segment of Dynamite. Got to get better. And they could have did that tonight by cutting down at least 7-8 minutes off that fucking Trent Moxley match. They could have cut 4 or 5 minutes from the women's match and given it to the main event. Why did you need to have Trent and Moxley go near 15 minutes on this show? I don't get it. Got to get better with the time management, man. This was all about PAC and Omega. I love the fact, another thing that I want to make mention of here that I didn't do in the beginning. You know how they have the graphic when, say, for example, PAC comes out for his entrance, see his name, see his record, and then above his name, they got a little graphic, and it gives you the current storyline that he's in right now. PAC looking for a rubber match against Kenny Omega. I love that little added detail on everybody's graphic. I really do. I loved it when Cody Rhodes came out. Arn Anderson. Cody Rhodes hires Arn Anderson as head coach / advisor for 2020. I love it. Gives that real sports-like feel. I noticed that here. I don't know why I didn't mention it. It wasn't really that big of a deal, but it's a nice added touch to everybody's ring entrances when they come out. Now, obviously, like I said, this is about PAC and Omega. Obviously, they're going to get their rematch, that rubber match that he's been looking for. It shouldn't happen at the pay-per-view. Give them 20 minutes to go. Give them enough time. Don't have it feel rushed in a upcoming AEW Dynamite main event. That's what those guys deserve. I don't want to see it at the pay-per-view. Meanwhile, you're building Omega and Page up for the pay-per-view at the end of February. That's the big story here. You got Omega and PAC, which is a side story, but the big story is Omega and Page. This was fast-paced. It never slowed down. The Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, I mean, if you watched any of their fucking shit before, you know what to expect with these guys. I'm not going to go over it all. There's no reason for me to. Phoenix at the end of this thing. We got Omega with a boot to Pentagon, and then a backstabber. Phoenix tags in. Pentagon eats double super kicks from the Bucks. Phoenix with a double cutter on Matt and Nick. Omega with the Snapdragon on Phoenix. He no-sold the Snapdragon to roll through and give Omega a cutter. He no-sold one of Kenny Omega's Dragon suplexes, which I found to be hilarious because he no-sold it, he did the cutter, and then he sold the Snapdragon suplex and went to go tag Pentagon. So, or PAC, I'm sorry, tag PAC. Rolling cutter by Phoenix after the no-sell. PAC tags in, hits an absolutely picture-perfect, absolutely stunning Black Arrow on Omega, and the Bucks break up that pinfall attempt. Double super kicks on Pentagon. Phoenix tags in, flies in off the top rope, eats a big kick to the face. Omega then delivers the one-winged angel, which we have not been really accustomed to seeing, so it felt special here with him doing it and getting the win over Phoenix with the one-winged angel. 1, 2, 3. And Omega wins the match for the Elites. They celebrated in the ring. Post-match, Cody Rhodes comes out and celebrates with Matt, Nick, and Kenny. Page on commentary. He is being welcomed into the ring by the Bucks. Welcomed into the ring by Omega. And they're calling for him to come into the ring. And Page gives a thumbs up and says, I didn't do anything. I don't deserve to be in the ring with you guys. And on commentary during this thing, I don't know if it was Jim Ross or Excalibur, Page mentioned something about trying to distance himself from the Elite. And he says, I'm trying to do that. He said it on commentary. I've been trying to do that. I'm trying to do that, but they got me pairing up with Kenny next week against Private Party. So that statement alone kind of gives you an inside glimpse as to where they're going with this storyline. I hope that they take their time telling it. I don't want it to feel rushed because Page turning heel and going against the Elite should be a big deal. He is one of them. And if he's going to be moving away from them and doing his own thing and maybe turning heel, it should be taken as a serious thing, a really, really big deal. But that one line by Page on commentary kind of set the table for what I think is to come. We're going to get PAC and Omega at some point on Dynamite in the main event. It's going to be a great match. It's going to be the rubber match. But Page and Omega, they got plenty of weeks. They got 2 months to build to this thing. Hopefully it's told right. Hopefully it's done right. The heel turn happens, and we get Omega and Page at Revolution. And what I think should be a great match between those two. Very interesting to see, but that little seed with that comment made by Page on commentary could be the one that just breaks this thing open and gives you a clearer picture as to where they're going with this entire storyline. Dynamite was awesome tonight. They hit the intensity, they hit the urgency button, and they came out swinging. They delivered a great show, and that's all we could ask for. They needed to. First show of the year. They came out, Daily Center, rocking and rolling. Great show tonight by Dynamite. Hopefully they do the same thing next week, and we continue to get these types of shows leading to AEW Revolution at the end of February. Thank you guys so much. Again, I apologize for the lighting. I hope it wasn't that big of a deal. Let me know what you guys think of the show down below. Leave me your comments down below in the comment section. Follow me on social media, man. At JD from NY206. It is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your bell for all notifications as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel this week. Raw and Off the Script Elites. There will be no NXT review because there's no NXT show. And I'll see you guys on Friday with Off the Script. Got a lot of news to go over, especially coming out of that god-awful Monday Night Raw with Lana and Lashley's wedding, with Liv Morgan being a new lesbian character on WWE TV. We'll go over that, and we'll talk all the news and rumors coming out of that horrendous show on Friday's episode of Off the Script. Thank you guys so much. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here for episode 307 of Off the Script. See you guys then.